I'm going to start by reading the story that or speech I did at the gala. And it's a story about myself, my husband of 27 years as of yesterday, and my kids, Braden, Bethany, and Austin. And I'm going to start 4 years ago when Chris and I were sitting on a small couch facing the neurological doctor in her private office getting the bad news. The test results were all in after 3 months of testing, and they all said Alzheimer's disease. Chris, who's always been a very strong, happy person, I had never seen him cry before, and he started crying. And this is still hard to do. I was trying with all my might to be the strong one and try to be positive. The doctor told us that today's medications were very helpful and that we would have 10 to 15 good years before we'd see signs of this disease. And I was clinging to that statement like a lifeline and repeated it often. I told Chris that we can do a lot in 10 or 15 years. We could do this. We were a strong family, and a cure could be found in that time. And as it turned out, Chris had a rare mutated gene form of this disease, and we had less than a year. In a matter of months, he started forgetting his own children. He began struggling with basic skills. I still remember when we were having barbecue hamburgers. It was one of his favorites. And I put a plate with a hamburger in front of him, and he took the hamburger apart and laid all the pieces around his plate on the table. And then he looked up and he didn't know what to do with it. And Braden, who was sitting next to him, he picked up all the parts and pieces and he put that hamburger together and then held it and he said, "Here, Dad, you take a bite out of it. This is how you eat a hamburger." And for me, that was heartbreaking to realize he couldn't even remember how to eat a hamburger. That was one of his favorite meals. Within 2 years, he had forgotten all of us and forgot our home. We'd lived there for 15 years, and he kept trying to leave. We had to put special locks on all the doors. It took all four of us, me and the three kids, juggling our work schedules and school schedules, because all three of them were still in school, and to take care of Chris. It got to the point where he couldn't be left alone for his own safety. I spent our 25th anniversary, so 2 years ago exactly, Braden and I went and toured facilities that specialize in Alzheimer's care. And I can still remember going through the facility. It was a really, really nice facility, but it was still a facility. And I didn't even make it the whole way through. I started losing it, and we left. I was crying 5 feet out the door, and Braden, he was putting his arm around me and saying, he said, "Mom, Dad needs this care. We can't do it anymore." And I knew that. It was still hard. 2 weeks later, we moved him in. And within 2 more months, he had declined to a point where he needed full-time care. Within 2 more months, he had declined to a point where he needed full-time care. So we had to move him to a different facility at that point, and he's still there today. He can no longer walk, talk, feed himself, use the bathroom. He doesn't recognize us anymore. Sometimes they have a hard time just getting him to wake up to feed him. So he spends the majority of his day in bed or sometimes in a jerry chair out in the hallway. And part of what we really want people to realize is that it's not just the individual that suffers from this disease, it's the whole family. We're a fairly young family. Chris, thankfully, he doesn't realize what's wrong with him, and he pretty much didn't realize what's wrong with him early on, which was, I think, a blessing for him. But the kids and I had to watch what happened. It was pretty heartbreaking. To say it was awful is actually sugarcoating it, as I like to tell people. We've always been a really strong, close family, a really happy family. As you can tell by the pictures in here, we a lot of laughter in our family, a lot of love. So to watch Chris slip away like that was really hard on all of us. That this hasn't been just hard emotionally, but financially as well. Who thinks to prepare at our age for something like this? We've now lost everything. We lost our business. We lost our home. We had to sell off all of our possessions. Chris would be really devastated to know what this disease has done to his family. I'm thankful he doesn't know that. You know, we could be bitter and we could be resentful that this is happening to us, but and I say we could cry all the time, which we still actually are crying all the time. But we've decided instead as a family to we're going to do all we can to bring awareness about the disease. We've started a Hunter Family Foundation, and so we, as a family, we try, whenever we can, we try to help educate and bring awareness, raise money for research. And one of the things that we come across, one major misconception, is that this disease affects only the very old. And so I tell everyone that my husband, Chris, is 50 now, and he was diagnosed 1 week after his 46th birthday. And that's the short version of our story.